The morning air in a small desert town was dry and crisp. Dust swirled lazily across the quiet roads. It was one of those towns that most people only passed through, never thinking to stop. But today, something strange and unforgettable was about to happen. Something that would travel far beyond the town's dusty borders, miles away from the bright lights of the city. A bright orange Lamborghini Aventador kicked up clouds of sand as it rolled slowly to a stop. The growling engine sputtered and died. The car stood still at the edge of the road, alone under the hot sun, looking as out of place as a diamond in a sandbox. Inside the car sat a man named Garrett Langston. Before we jump back in, tell me where are you watching this video from below, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow's episode is extra special. He was in his early 40s, wore a tailored black shirt and gold sunglasses, and had the calm, sharp face of someone who owned private islands and companies he never visited. He was known as the shark in business circles because once he set his sights on something, he never stopped until he got it. Garrett had everything: jets, yachts, rare art, but one thing he did not have at the moment was a working engine. He stepped out, checking his watch with frustration. He had a meeting in Los Angeles in 4 hours. It was a deal that could change the future of green technology. Something he was secretly funding to turn his ruthless public image around. But none of that mattered now. His Lamborghini was silent. He pulled out his phone. No signal, of course. Garrett looked around. Nothing but dry land and open sky. No signs, no houses, no gas station for miles. He cursed under his breath and kicked the tire of the Lamborghini lightly. That's when he heard it. A soft, metallic clunking sound. Like someone hammering gently. He turned around. At first, he saw nothing. But then, from behind a line of cactus and a tall bush, a small figure stepped out. A child. She couldn't have been older than 6. Her hair was a messy halo of brown curls, held back by a red bandana. She wore blue overalls with grease stains, boots too big for her, and a white t-shirt with little stars on it. She had a small, red toolbox in one hand and a cookie in the other. Garrett stared. The girl didn't flinch. She walked right up to him, looked at the Lamborghini, and tilted her head. "You got engine trouble?" she asked. Garrett blinked. "What?" "Engine trouble," she repeated. "You look mad, so probably engine trouble." Yes," he said. "How did you?" Before he could finish, she was already walking around the car, examining it with a serious face. She squatted by the back, placed her hand on the rear air intake, and frowned. "Hot," she said. "You pushed her too hard." Garrett was too stunned to speak. "Where are your parents?" he finally asked. The girl shrugged. "Oh, my grandpa's in the shed, but he's asleep. He naps at 10. Garrett looked past her and saw what looked like an old garage, barely standing, with rusted tools hanging on the wall and a crooked weather vane on top. A large dog slept by the door. "You live out here?" Garrett asked. "Only in the mornings," she said. "Sometimes in the evenings. Crema says the day belongs to the sun and the night to the coyotes." "I don't like the coyotes." He stared at her. "What's your name?" "Luna," she said. "Luna," he repeated. "Know anything about cars?" She looked at him as if he had asked if she knew how to breathe. "I fixed Grandpa's truck and the tractor, and once a helicopter." Garrett raised an eyebrow. "A helicopter? It belonged to someone who crashed nearby. He gave me a coin after I fixed it." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a shiny Navy SEAL Challenge coin. Garrett's eyes widened. "Where did you get that?" he asked. "I told you, from the man with the helicopter." He said, "I earned it." Said I had Navy fingers. Garrett was silent. He had once worked with SEALs in a government deal. He knew those coins weren't just toys. They weren't given out for fun. "You're 6, he said slowly. "Almost 7, she replied proudly. She set down her toolbox, pulled out a flashlight, and opened the back hood of the Lamborghini like it was a lunchbox. Garrett opened his mouth to stop Herb. Something in the way she moved made him pause. She wasn't guessing. She knew exactly where everything was. "Your coolant hose is loose," she said, pointing. "And your belt's worn. Did you drive through sand recently?" Garrett nodded slowly. "How did you?" "Desert sand gets in everything," she muttered. "Even if you're rich." She reached into her toolbox and pulled out a small, precise-looking wrench. Her hands moved with surprising confidence and speed. Garrett stood there, blinking, feeling like he was in a dream, as she worked. She talked. "My mom was a pilot," she said. "But she went away." Garrett asked gently. "Away? Where?" "She joined the stars," Luna said simply. There was silence. "She told me stories before she left," Luna continued. "About machines, about fixing them. She said every machine is like a puzzle. You just have to listen." Garrett felt something shift in his chest. "Where's your dad?" "Don't have one. Just Grandpa and me now. But he forgets things. He's old." She tightened a bolt. "And what about school?" "I learn here. Grandpa says the world is the best school, and I read manuals." She finished and closed the hood. "Try it now." Garrett gave her a skeptical look, but slid into the driver's seat. He pressed the ignition. The Lamborghini roared to life. Smooth, perfect. He stepped out slowly. It worked," he said. She nodded. "Of course. I told you, just needed some love." Garrett took off his sunglasses and looked down at her. "You're not normal," he said softly. She smiled. "Grandpa says I'm special." Then, as if she remembered something, she added, "But I don't like to be called a genius. Just Luna." She picked up her box. "Wait," Garrett said. "I want to pay you." She blinked. "For what?" "For fixing my car." She tilted her head. "I didn't do it for money. I just wanted the engine to stop crying." Garrett stared at her. "Then, can I give you something else?" She looked up at him. "Can I take you to Los Angeles?" He said, "Meet some people. People who could help you learn more, grow." She shook her head. "I can't leave Grandpa. And the coyotes. What if I help both of you?" Luna paused. "You're a stranger." Garrett chuckled. "Yes, I suppose." "I am." There was a long silence. Then Luna reached into her pocket and held out the Navy SEAL coin. "You want to help," she said. "Then hold this. Don't lose it." He took it carefully. "It means you have to come back," she said. "If you don't, you're a liar." Garrett nodded. "I'll come back," he promised. And he meant it. He didn't know why, but something about this little girl stirred something deep in him. Something older than business deals and power. Something real. As he drove away, he looked. In the rearview mirror, Luna was already gone. Just the sun, the dust, and a sleeping dog. But he still had the coin, and he wasn't going to forget. The next morning, the desert sky turned pale orange with streaks of lavender. It had been 3 days since Garrett Langston drove away with his engine humming and a Navy SEAL coin in his hand. A coin given to him by a 6-year-old girl named Luna. He hadn't stopped thinking about her since. Her small hands so confident with tools. Her quiet eyes that held pain and wisdom well beyond her years. And that coin, not a toy, but a real one. He had shown it to an old friend in military intelligence the moment he got back to the city. "Where did you get this?" the friend asked, shocked. "This isn't a fake." "I told you," Garrett said. "A little girl gave it to me, out in the middle of nowhere." The friend stared at him. "You sure she wasn't planted?" "That coin's not easy to earn. You have to do something. ... Legendary." Garrett shook his head. "She's real. Her name is Luna. Her mom was a pilot, she said. Gone now. She lives with her grandfather in the desert. That's all I know. His friend didn't laugh. Instead, he handed the coin back with deep respect. Then you better go back. Anyone connected to that coin deserves to be remembered. Garrett nodded. He had already made up his mind, but this time he wasn't going back alone. 2 black SUVs hummed down the dusty road. Garrett was in the front passenger seat, wearing jeans and a plain white shirt, a rare sight for a billionaire, who usually looked like he belonged on magazine covers. Behind him were 2 trusted people, Nora Vega, his top assistant, and a man named Boone, a retired Army mechanic who had worked on everything from tanks to spacecraft. I still can't believe you're dragging us out here for a 6-year-old, Nora said, peering out the window. You will, Garrett said. You sure? It wasn't a mirage. He didn't answer. He simply reached into his pocket and touched the coin. Solid, real. They passed the last marker on the map. There was no sign, no street, just a crooked fence and an old windmill spinning lazily in the wind. Garrett recognized the garage instantly. The same tilted building, the same dog lying by the porch. He stepped out. Stay here, he told the others. She might get nervous. He walked slowly toward the house, unsure if she'd even be there. Maybe she was a dream. Maybe she had vanished with the wind. Then he heard that same soft clinking. The sound of a wrench meeting a stubborn bolt. She was there, sitting cross-legged, under the hood of a dusty pickup truck, her overalls even more stained than before, and her hair tied up in 2 loops this time. Luna, he said softly. She looked up. There was no shock on her face. Just a tiny smile. You came back, she said. I told you I would. She closed the hood gently and wiped her hands on a towel. I thought maybe you forgot. I almost didn't, he said. I've been busy. She nodded. The world is loud. He knelt in front of her. I have your coin, he said, opening his hand. She took it, inspected it, and then placed it back in her own pocket. Good. That means you didn't lie. I want to help you, Garrett said. You and your grandpa. He's sleeping again, she said. He forgets my name sometimes. I can help with that too. But more than that, Luna, would you let me build you a real shop? A place to fix things. With all the tools you need, computers, engines, a school even. She tilted her head. Why? 'Cause the world needs people like you. She was quiet for a long time. I can't leave, Grandpa, she said softly. Even for tools, you won't have to, Garrett replied. We'll build it here, around you, right here in the desert. Her eyes lit up, just slightly. Then she looked past him. Who are they? She asked. Garrett turned and waved Boone and Nora over. This is Boone. He used to fix fighter jets. And that's Nora. She's really good at making things happen. Boone stepped forward and smiled. You the kid that fixed the Lambo? Luna nodded. I got questions, he said. About torque settings. She grinned. Within hours, plans were in motion. Garrett's team set up camp on the property. Drones scanned the land. Blueprints were drawn. A modular garage with solar panels, lift systems, AI diagnostics, and tool walls. A small library. A cool zone for desert nights. All centered around Luna's little world. Her grandfather, a gentle man with white hair and a shaky voice, came out of the house by sunset. He didn't speak much, just nodded when Garrett explained everything. Luna held his hand, whispering things only he seemed to understand. The next day, construction began. And Luna. She was at the center of it. Boone taught her how to calibrate high-performance engines. Nora showed her how to track supplies and inventory. Garrett sat with her during meals, just listening. She told him stories about her mom, a woman who used to fly crop dusters before joining a search and rescue team. A woman who taught her daughter the parts of a plane before teaching her how to spell her name. Mom used to say, "Machines can feel sad," Luna said one night. "If you ignore them, they give up." Garrett smiled. I think she was right. 2 weeks later, the garage was complete. A polished, high-tech space that looked like something out of a sci-fi film, but still had Luna's hand-painted signs and crayon labels on the toolboxes. Garrett gathered everyone around. "I want to name this place," he said. Luna raised her eyebrow, like a cat. "Kind of." He reached into his pocket, and this time, peeled out something else. A plaque. It read, "Luna's Workshop, where engines heal and dreams begin." Luna stared at it then. Slowly, she smiled. "Okay," she whispered. But things weren't done. Yet Garrett had a secret. A surprise. The next morning, a truck arrived, carrying something under a massive silver tarp. Garrett brought Luna outside. "What is it?" she asked. "Something your mom would have loved," he said. He pulled the tarp off. It was a restored Navy rescue helicopter. Bright blue-gray paint, gleaming rotors. Luna gasped. It's like hers." She flew a model, just like this, Garrett said. "This one was salvaged from a museum. It can't fly, but everything else works. It's yours now, to explore." Luna walked slowly to the chopper, reached out, and placed her hand on the side. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then she turned, and for the first time, she hugged Garrett. No words, just a hug. That night, under a million stars, the girl who once fixed a billionaire's Lamborghini sat in the cockpit of her mother's favorite machine. The lights glowed, the dials moved, and she smiled to herself because she wasn't alone anymore. Because now, the world had found her, and she had found her place. 3 months had passed since the desert winds watched Garrett Langston return to Luna's world. In that short time, everything had changed. The once silent desert now buzzed with quiet power. Luna's workshop stood like a beacon of strange wonder. Half child's dream, half futuristic garage. Dust-covered travelers stopped to marvel. Helicopters flew overhead. Engineers came from faraway cities just to meet the kid who fixed the billionaire's Lambo. But Luna stayed the same. She still wore her stained overalls, still tied her hair with that red bandana, still climbed under engines barefoot, and still carried that Navy SEAL coin, the one given to her long before Garrett arrived. Yet something about her had begun to shift. Every day she would climb into the cockpit of the helicopter Garrett gifted her mother's mirror. And every night she'd stare at the sky longer, listening, thinking. Something was calling her, but no one knew what. Garrett noticed first. He'd begun staying longer. His private life, once wrapped in cold boardrooms and gold pens, was unraveling. He found himself walking the dirt paths around Luna's land, talking to her grandfather about stars and old diesel engines, sitting quietly beside Luna while she sketched weird inventions. One evening, as the sun burned the horizon gold, Garrett stood by her as she worked on the hydraulics of a broken tractor someone had dropped off. "You've been quiet lately," he said. Luna didn't look up. "I'm thinking about what?" She paused. "About the coin." Garrett raised an eyebrow. "What about it?" She slid out from under the machine and sat cross-legged in the dirt. "Do you think people earn things, forever?" she asked. "Or can they lose them?" Garrett sat beside her. "I think it depends," he said. "Some people earn things that no one can take. Others let it slip away." She looked down at the coin in her hand. "My mom said this meant I was brave," she whispered. "But I didn't do anything. I just fixed a machine. I wasn't in a war. I didn't save anyone." Garrett didn't answer at first. Then he said, "Maybe bravery isn't always loud. Sometimes it's fixing something when no one else will. Standing still when the world wants you to fall. Oh, she stared at him. That sounds like something my mom would say. He smiled. Then she was wise. But not everyone was happy about Luna's growing fame far across the country. In a gleaming office tower in New York, a man named Bryce Keaton paced angrily in front of a large screen. He wore a silver suit and carried a cane, though he didn't need it. It was a fashion statement. Like everything he did, on the screen was a news report. ... And out in the Mojave Desert, a 6-year-old mechanic named Luna has caught the attention of engineers, military specialists, and billionaires alike. Her workshop is now one of the most advanced microlabs in the Southwest. Bryce scoffed. A child, he muttered. Child is getting more attention than my AI engine prototypes. His assistant, Darren, cleared his throat. Well, sir, she did restore a prototype drone engine from the Korean War last week. Solo, without power tools. Rubbish, Bryce snapped. I want it discredited. All of it. I want reporters, inspectors, agents. Something illegal has to be going on there. No one is that gifted. But sir, Darren began. Find something, or I'll replace you with a spreadsheet. Back in the desert, Luna worked late into the night. She was rebuilding a hybrid motorcycle, one of Garrett's side projects. Boone stood nearby, arms crossed, watching her work. You know, he said, most kids your age can't even ride a bike without training wheels. I don't ride, she said. I fix. Boone laughed. You're a strange one, Luna. She didn't respond, but then she asked, Boone, you used to be in the military, right? He nodded slowly. Army. 20 years? You ever give someone one of those? She asked, holding up her coin. Boone stared at it. Then he sat down beside her. I've seen a few given out, but I've never given one. That kind of thing? It's sacred. Then why did he give it to me? She asked. The man with the helicopter. He crashed. I fixed his rotors, but that's all. Boone looked at her seriously. Did he have a tattoo on his left wrist? She blinked. Yeah, an eagle with 3 stars. Boone whistled. That wasn't just any SEAL. That was Commander Reese. He disappeared 6 years ago on a secret mission. Nobody knew what happened to him. Luna's eyes went wide. He said he was tired, she whispered. He just wanted to fly one last time. Then he was gone. Boone leaned back. That coin is not just a thank you. That coin is a message. The next morning, federal agents arrived. 3 black cars. 4 suits, badges, silence. Garrett met them at the gates of the property, standing tall. What's this about? He asked calmly. The lead agent, a woman named Reyes, showed her credentials. We received complaints that military-grade technology was being housed here illegally. We're here to investigate. Garrett folded his arms. Everything here is either licensed, salvaged, or gifted. You'll find no violations. Luna appeared behind him, grease on her hands. Agent Reyes looked at her with curiosity. This is the child. Garrett nodded. She stepped forward. Do you want to see the helicopter? Luna asked. Reyes blinked. Yes, please. Luna led her there. Reyes climbed in. Everything was functional. Every wire tagged. Every bolt cataloged. She was stunned. I've never seen such precision, even at our training bases. Luna said nothing. She just sat down and looked at the control panel. You know, Reyes said gently, you don't have to stay here. You could come with us. Learn more. See the world. I already see the world, Luna replied softly. It's broken. I'm fixing it. One machine at a time. Reyes smiled. Fair enough. The agents left, empty-handed. But Bryce Keaton was not done. That night, drones flew above the workshop. Not friendly ones. They scanned, searched, buzzed. Luna heard them first. She jumped out of bed, raced outside, and spotted them black, quiet, circling like vultures. She activated the garage's security net, a system she had designed herself. The drones blinked, tried to escape, but 3 of them dropped like stones. Boone and Garrett arrived seconds later. "What's going on?" Garrett shouted. "Someone's spying on us," Luna said. "And it's not the government." She opened one of the drones. Her fingers moved fast. Then she froze. A symbol on the circuit board, a silver cane, and the letters BK. "Who's BK?" she asked. Garrett's face darkened. "Bryce Keaton," he said. "My old rival, CEO of Voltage. He's been trying to destroy my projects for years." Luna's eyes narrowed. "Then it's war," she said softly. The next morning, Luna sent a message. Not digital. It's not loud. Just a single post online. A video of her repairing the drone using chalkboards, hand tools, and explaining every step. No software. No shortcuts. Just knowledge. It went viral in 2 hours. 12 million views. Bryce Keaton threw his cane at the screen. "She's outplaying me," he snapped. "Get me Reese." Now, his assistant blinked. "Reese." "But sir." I said. "Get me the one she fixed." Meanwhile, Luna sat with Garrett that evening under a rustling wind. He handed her a small wrapped box. "What's this?" she asked. "Something I should have given you earlier." She opened it. Inside was a locket. When she opened it, she gasped. A picture of her mother, and a picture of her as a baby in her mother's arms, wearing a pilot's cap. "Where? How?" she whispered. "I found it in military archives," Garrett said. "Your mom's name was Ava Monroe. She served in Operation Dustwind. She saved 23 lives in her last mission." Luna's eyes filled with tears. "She told me stories," she said, "but she never told me that she didn't need to." Garrett said, "She knew one day you'd finish what she started." Luna looked at the coin again, but this time she wasn't unsure. She was ready. The wind picked up again in the Mojave, but this time it carried tension, not sand. Luna's workshop, once a quiet corner of the world, had become a battlefield of secrets. Not with bombs or bullets, but with drones, files, and names whispered. In the dark, and at the heart of it all, stood a girl with dirt on her face and a coin in her pocket. One she finally understood. Garrett had made arrangements. After the drone incident, he brought in extra security. Not the kind with earpieces and sunglasses. He brought in his own people. Trusted friends from the Navy, retired tech experts. Veterans who understood that Luna was no ordinary child. She's a legacy, Garrett told them. Her mom was a SEAL pilot. She's continuing that mission in her own way. But Luna didn't like the noise. She wanted the workshop to stay small, pure. One night, she walked into Garrett's temporary office, a small cabin next to the hangar. "Why are there so many people now?" she asked. Garrett looked up from his laptop. "'Cause you're not safe anymore. People know what you can do. Some want to take it." She nodded slowly. "Can I still fix things?" "Of course." "Then I'm fine," she said. "Just tell them to be quiet." Garrett smiled. "Deal." Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, in an underground bunker beneath Voltage headquarters, Bryce Keaton stood before a screen showing Luna's face. "I want her legacy," he muttered. "Her tools, her secrets." Darren, his assistant, tapped nervously on a keyboard. "We've located someone who might help," he said. "But ... he's not exactly stable." Bryce raised an eyebrow. "Who?" The screen flickered. Then a grainy image appeared. A man with an eye patch. Broad shoulders. Tattoo on his neck, an eagle with 3 stars. Commander Reese, he's alive. Bryce hissed. Barely. He disappeared after the Dustwind mission. But our intel tracked him to the outskirts of Mexico. He's been hiding. Hurt, alone. Eyes narrowed, and he has her coin. No, he gave it to her. Bryce leaned in. Then we bring him in, and we use him. Luna was working late again. The workshop lights hummed softly as she soldered. A miniature gearbox for a drone she was building from scrap. Boone walked in, holding a can of oil. "You ever sleep?" he asked. She shook her head. "Machines don't," she said. "Not when they're hurting." Boone grinned. "You're too wise for 6. She looked up. "I think I've always been older," she said quietly. Boone sat down next to her. "You know," he said, "I looked up your mom's last mission, Ava Monroe. She flew into a sandstorm to extract a wounded squad. She could have turned back. She didn't." "I know," Luna said. "She told me the wind was a friend, not a warning." Boone nodded. "That sounds like her." Luna held up her drone. "This can fly in storms," she said. "If I get the wind sensor right." Boone smiled. "Then let's test it." The next day they did. Garrett, Boone, and Nora gathered outside. Luna launched the drone into the early morning sky. It climbed, dipped, twirled like it was dancing. Then, suddenly, it stopped, frozen in midair. Then it crashed. Luna rushed over. "It was jammed," she said. "Something blocked the signal." Boone examined it. "Not natural," he muttered. "This was ... hacked." Garrett's phone buzzed. He looked down and paled. "They found Reese," he whispered. "Bryce has him." Luna's eyes widened. "Commander." Reese. Garrett nodded. "And he's in trouble." Luna stood very still. Then she turned to her grandfather's shed. Inside, it was an old radio, one she had never touched, not until now. The radio was covered in dust. Her grandfather had once told her it was only for the right time. She figured this was it. She twisted the knobs, adjusted the frequency, static. Then more static then. A voice, Echo-Zulu-9... "This is Monarch." Luna gasped. "Monarch?" she whispered. "Commander Reese." The voice repeated, Echo-Zulu-9... "This is Monarch... injured. Need extraction... Garrett rushed in. "What is this?" Luna didn't look away. "He's calling me," she said. Boone stared. "That frequency's locked. Only high-level operatives know it." Garrett knelt beside her. "Can you trace it?" "Oh." Luna nodded. She closed her eyes, and she listened. Then she stood. "Mexico," she said. "Near the sea, remote cliffs. A place with wind that whistles." Garrett blinked. "You got all that from static?" She nodded. "It's what my mom used to do." 2 days later, Garrett's private aircraft touched down on a strip in Baja California. Luna, Boone, and Garrett stepped out, armed with a toolkit. Not weapons. Luna refused to carry any. "If I break something, to fix something." "I'm not really fixing," she said. They found Reese in an abandoned shack. His arm was in a sling. His beard was wild. His eyes sunken, but when he saw Luna, he smiled. "You remembered the code," he whispered. She nodded. "You said it was only for friends." He handed her something, a memory chip. "Everything Keaton's doing is on this." "He tried to use me, but I recorded it all." Luna took it. Then she held his hand. "You're safe now." Back at the workshop, Luna plugged the chip into an old laptop. Video files. Audio logs. Blueprints. Keaton's plans were clear. Create a child's AI based on Luna's mechanical genius. Use her public persona. Replace her with a fake one. and erase the real Luna Monroe from history. Garrett sat in silence. Boone swore under his breath. Luna. She just stared. Then she turned. To Garrett, "Can we build something?" He nodded. "Anything." The next 3 weeks were quiet, at least on the surface. But inside the workshop, a team worked. Stop. Luna led the design. Garrett funded it. Boone built the body, and Reese, slowly healing, watched with awe. They were creating a machine, not a weapon, not a drone, but a mobile. Desert Tough data capsule. It looked like a scorpion, armored, fast, low to the ground. Luna called it Whistler, named after the winds her mother loved. Its purpose: to travel deep into Keaton's facility using the blueprints they'd found and upload every corrupt file. Then broadcast it to the world. A peaceful attack. With truth, launch day came at dawn. Luna stood beside Whistler, adjusting its final lens. Garrett knelt. "You sure this is safe?" She nodded. "If it breaks, I'll fix it." "Why not just give the chip to the authorities?" She looked up, because the world needs to see it happen. In real time. He smiled. "You're a storm, Luna." "No," she said. "I'm my mother's daughter." Whistler launched at 6:03 a.m. by 6:45. It had reached Voltage's outer wall by 7:02. It was inside, and by 7:07, connected to the mainframe. Around the world, screens lit up. News anchors gasped. "This just in. A child engineer named Luna Monroe has exposed one of the largest corporate espionage rings in tech history. CEO Bryce Keaton, under federal investigation. Former SEAL commander confirms her identity." Keaton was arrested by noon. His cane broke in the process, and Luna. She was back in her workshop, cleaning tools like nothing happened. Garrett walked in. "You brought down an empire," he said. She shrugged. "I just fixed what was broken." That night, under the quiet stars, Luna sat in the cockpit of the helicopter. This time, Reese joined her. He had shaved, cleaned up, to SEAL tattoo fresh again. "You remind me of your mother," he said. "I know," Luna whispered. "She never said goodbye, but I feel like she's here." "She is," he said. "Every time the wind blows." She closed her eyes and smiled. The world had changed, and it changed fast. By the time Luna Monroe turned 7, she had unknowingly shifted the global tech balance with a single transmission. It wasn't about war. It wasn't even about power. It was about truth. A child with an oily hoodie and a heart full of code had exposed lies worth billions. But Luna didn't care about headlines. She didn't watch the news. She still spent her days under the sun. Sleeves rolled up, wrench in hand, heart tuned to the rhythm of machines and people. She didn't see herself as brave, or famous, or powerful. She was just fixing what hurt, just like her mom. But deep down, she knew things weren't over because the wind hadn't stopped whispering, and it carried ghosts. Garrett received the letter first. No name. It's just a black envelope. Wax seal. Inside, a photo of Ava Monroe. Not a photo anyone had ever seen. She was standing with 2 men in military uniforms. One had his face crossed out. The other wore an insignia that no known SEAL unit carried. On the back of the photo, just 3 words: "She's not gone." Garrett gripped the paper. He hadn't cried since Ava's funeral. But now, he did, because he knew that wasn't a threat. It was a clue. Boone had been cleaning the lower hangar when Luna found him staring at an old toolbox. "What's that?" she asked. He didn't speak for a long moment. Then he said, "Your mom's old signal gear. Stuff she asked me to hide after her last mission. I never opened it. Thought it was best left alone." Luna walked over. "I think it's time." He handed her a small silver key. The box clicked open. Inside, maps, flight logs, a half-burned photograph, and a disc labeled only Kilo-6-Vapor.Luna. Plugged it into her laptop. What came on screen wasn't data. It was video. Ava Monroe stood inside a darkened tent, wind flapping behind her. "I don't know if you'll ever see this, Luna," she said, face bruised but eyes strong. "But if you do, I need you to know something." Garrett had come running by then. Luna didn't even look away from the screen. "She's talking to me," she whispered. Ava continued. Kilo-6 Vapor isn't just a designation, it's a facility. Buried below a canyon outside Ridgefield. The military said they shut it down. They didn't. They hid something there, something that could rewrite how the world runs. I didn't want it falling into the wrong hands, so I locked it, with a code only you'll understand. Then she leaned closer to the camera. "The code is in your name." The screen cut to black. Luna sat frozen. Garrett whispered, "What does that mean?" She stood up. "It means Mom left something behind." They flew out the next day. No announcement. No security. Just Boone Garrett Reese, who had fully recovered, and Luna. She had the coin, the disc, and her mom's flight badge. Ridgefield was quiet, an abandoned desert basin surrounded by cliffs and dry roads. But Luna didn't look at the ground. She looked at the sky. "The wind's wrong," she whispered. Boone frowned. "What?" She closed her eyes. "It's coming from the canyon." That meant ventilation. That meant something was still running below. They hiked down carefully. Reese led the way. Garrett watched the flanks. Luna followed her instincts, and she found it, an old rock wall. Cracked behind it. Steel. She knocked twice. The panel clicked, then slid open. Inside was an elevator. Dust-covered, powered, it rumbled as they descended deep. Too deep for any ordinary base. Boone whistled. "This isn't military." Luna didn't speak. Her heart was racing. She didn't know why. Then the doors opened, and the lights came on. It wasn't a lab. It was a vault. Dozens of glass pods lined to the walls. Inside, each machines, prototypes, engines, armor suits, a hoverbike, and in the center, a chamber labeled Project Whisperlight. Ava's voice echoed from a speaker overhead. "If you're seeing this, it means Luna found you. And it means someone will come. Soon." Boone gasped. "That's her voice." Reese shook his head. "This place. It's older than even I remember. Black Project. Above top secret. This is where Ava hid her real work." Garrett turned to Luna. "Do you understand what this is?" She nodded. "This is the reason she never came home." Project Whisperlight wasn't a weapon. It was a power core. Unlike anything on Earth, it ran on sound. Specifically, wind harmonics. Garrett read the documents with shaking hands. "This thing can power a city using air. Ava invented the future." Boone paced. "But why hide it?" Reese answered, "Because if Keaton or Voltage got it, they'd turn it into a weapon." "Weaponized sound is deadly," Garrett whispered. "That's why she left us. To protect this." Luna stepped toward the chamber, and the door opened. No code, just her breath. Inside. The Whisperlight core, HUMMED, softly, like a sleeping heart. Luna reached out, and it pulsed. She closed her eyes, and the whole room shifted, not physically, but emotionally. They all felt it. The weight of her mother's sacrifice. The beauty of her genius. The love she'd poured into every line of code and bolt. "She built this for peace," Luna whispered. Reese nodded. "And it's time we finish her mission." But peace never comes easy, especially when someone's been watching, miles away, in a new Voltage satellite station hidden behind shell companies. A new figure watched Luna on surveillance feed. Her name was Arya Keaton, Bryce's sister. She had taken control after his arrest. But she was colder, sharper, and she had one goal: erase the Monroe line, reclaim Whisperlight, end this family. She tapped into the feed and activated a hunter drone, not like the others. This one was human-operated, built from tech that Luna had rejected, and its target was already locked. That night, under the canyon stars, Luna sat with Reese. "I don't think I'm ready," she said quietly. He looked at her gently. "No SEAL ever is," he said. "But we go anyway, because someone has to." She glanced at the canyon. "What if Mom's not really gone?" Reese hesitated. Then he said, "She might not be. Not fully." She turned slowly. "What do you mean?" "Toward the core. There are blueprints in there for a consciousness archive. If she uploaded part of her mind, she could still be in the system." Luna's heart skipped. She stood and ran inside the vault. She connected her laptop, pulled up the Whisperlight's internal AI lines of code flowed fast. She narrowed her eyes, looked for patterns, and then she saw it. A signature. ATIMS. AMP.A.M.1103. Ava Monroe. Her birthday. The AI flickered. Then a voice whispered from the core. "Luna." Her mother's voice, clear as wind through leaves. Luna burst into tears. Garrett held her. Boone stepped back, even. Reese looked away. It was her. Ava, not fully alive, but not gone either. A whisper, a ghost in the wind, a backup of the woman who had given up everything but never truly left her daughter. "You found me," the voice said softly, "just like I knew you would." Luna whispered, "I missed you." "I missed you too." But their moment didn't last. The alarms blared. The base shook. Boone shouted, "We've got incoming." Garrett checked the cameras. A humanoid drone was approaching fast, faster than anything they'd seen. It had plasma cutters for hands, and the voltage insignia burned into its chest. Reese grabbed Luna. "Time to go." But Luna stood firm. "No," she said. "We fight. With truth. With tech. With heart." She turned to the Whisperlight console, and her mother's voice echoed one final time. "Then let's fix what's broken, together." The wind screamed. It wasn't like before, gentle, guiding, whispering secrets. Now it howled, warning, pushing, yelling. Something was coming. Something born of steel and greed. Luna stood inside the vault, facing the main console of Project Whisperlight. Garrett was at her side, holding tight to her shoulder. Boone stood by the vault entrance, shotgun in hand. Reese loaded gear into a makeshift EMP launcher built from old tank parts and aircraft circuits. None of them had answers, but Luna had something more powerful: resolve. The humanoid drone sent by Arya Keaton was already inside the canyon facility. It didn't speak. It didn't blink. It wasn't made to think. Just obey. Its task was clear: extract Whisperlight, destroy evidence, eliminate the girl. Voltage had failed with spies, with hackers, with false accusations. Now they sent a blade. But they forgot something. You can't stab the wind. Core status. Reese barked. Luna tapped on her laptop. Whisperlight is still stable, but it can't be moved. Not yet. We'd need to unpair the harmonic locks, and I need time. Boone grunted. "You've got 5 minutes, maybe less." "I saw that thing slice through 10 inches of titanium on the feed." Garrett looked down at his daughter. "You're sure you want to do this?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said softly, "I have to. It's not just about Mom anymore. It's about every girl who's ever been told you can't." She plugged in the SEAL badge, Whisperlight's chamber. began to glow. The drone breached the outer bulkhead. Its feet thudded onto the floor like a marching war drum. Reese aimed the EMP launcher. On my mark, but the drone vanished. Not teleported. Not hidden. It moved so fast it was just gone from sight. Move. Reese shouted. Boone fired. But the shotgun barely dented its alloy plating. Sparks rained. It sliced through a steel beam like butter. Garrett tackled Luna behind cover as sparks flew over their heads. Finish the unpairing, he shouted. Luna gritted her teeth, trying. Then a voice cut through the chaos. Not a human voice, but not robotic either. It came from the air vents, the echoing steel walls, the wind turbines above. Luna, I'm here. Trust the rhythm. Ava's voice. The Whisperlight interface was alive. It could read frequencies, predict movement. Ava's consciousness had learned the drone's patterns. Luna typed fast, created a wind-based path map. The room began to shift. Vents opened. Turbines spun in reverse. Airflow reversed polarity. The drone stepped toward them and was knocked off balance by an artificial crosswind. Only by a second, but it was enough. Reese fired the EMP. The drone shorted, paused, and rebooted. Not dead, but damaged. Go. Luna shouted. I can finish it. Boone threw down a smoke grenade. Reese covered the hallway. Garrett turned to Luna. I'm staying. No, Dad. I can handle it. He didn't argue. He just nodded, because he finally understood. She wasn't a kid anymore. She was a storm in the control center. Luna unpaired the final harmonic lock. Whisperlight's chamber cracked open. The core inside shimmered like a miniature. Sun, no heat, just raw possibility. Luna connected her wrist drive. Ava's voice echoed again. It's ready. Luna smiled through tears. Then let's show them what peace really looks like. She triggered the resonance protocol. Outside the base, hidden voltage agents monitoring the canyon saw it. Before they heard it, the wind died. Then a pulse rippled across the rocks, all the devices in the surrounding 3-mile area shut down. But inside, the Whisperlight was just warming up. Its inner coil began to sing a perfect harmonic frequency. And it wasn't a weapon. It was a shield. One that wrapped the vault in a field of frequency-inverted sound, protecting everything inside from outside interference, including attack. The drone slammed into the wall. It twitched, struggled, then fell still. Luna walked up to it, bent down and pressed her palm to its chest. You were made to destroy, but I was raised to fix. She uploaded a shutdown code. The lights in its eyes flickered, then dimmed. It wouldn't reboot again. Up above, in a voltage boardroom, Arya Keaton stared at the blackout on her screens. What happened? An analyst said, Whisperlight, ... Just shut down our entire grid link. It's live, ma'am, but not weaponized. It's blocking us. Arya slammed her fist on the table. Get me control. There is no back door. Arya froze. Then we lost. Back in the vault, Garrett pulled Luna into a hug. Reese whistled softly. That was ... history. Boone nodded. No, that was a future none of us could have imagined. Luna didn't smile. She just looked at the Whisperlight core. Then at the glowing monitor where Ava's digital signature shimmered. I have to go now, the voice said softly. The archive can't stay open forever. Luna whispered, please, ... stay. I'll always be with you. Every time the wind blows. Every time you fix something that's broken. Garrett took her hand. Together. They watched the last flicker of Ava Monroe fade. The light dimmed. The core HUMMED and the wind outside began to sing again. 3 months later, the world had changed again. But this time, not with violence or scandal. With inspiration. Luna didn't want fame. But she couldn't hide anymore. Her story of a little girl who used sound, code, and courage to stop a tech war spread faster than any ad campaign. Governments came, CEOs begged, universities called. But Luna just built. She opened a lab, the Ava Project, dedicated to peaceful innovation, to repairing what others threw away. And she staffed it with kids, not rich kids. Kids from broken homes. Kids from the streets. Girls who fixed broken RC cars. Boys who soldered radios. A family of misfits, led by a 6-year-old Storm. One day, Reese brought her a box, old, sealed, double quotes, found this in the hangar. It's addressed to you, in your mom's handwriting. Luna opened it. Inside, a compass, an old map, and a sealed letter. She read it slowly, and tears filled her eyes. Asterisk, dear Luna, if you're reading this, then you found more than I ever could. I once believed we had to fight to protect the world. But you reminded me sometimes, we just have to love it enough to change it. Asterisk, she folded the letter, wiped her cheeks, and looked out the window, where a new kind of car hovered silently in. The Courtyard. One powered by Air. One made for peace. The billionaire she once helped came by again, not in Lambo, in jeans, with no bodyguards. Just a journal and a pen. He shook her hand. Thank you, he said. Luna nodded, double quotes. Next time, she said, break something worth fixing. He laughed and left the journal behind. On the first page, he'd written, to the girl who taught me wind is stronger than steel. The sun dipped low. The wind picked up. Luna closed her eyes and listened. Her mom's voice still whispered through the air. The code still sang. And a little girl from nowhere, with a badge too big for her coat and hands stained with grease, became the one who silenced war, with sound. The end.